My name is Wada.
And my name is also Wada.
Today, we will bring into discussion a topic that is generally overlooked: the representation of disabilities in kids' films.
When we first were speaking about what to do with Wada, we had a lot of ideas that are really different from this topic. We knew that we wanted to analyze something and bring a new look to other things, but the question was, what could we analyze? So we started talking about film analysis because it's something that we like to watch on YouTube, for example, and I remember a video I watched long ago that was called Monsters University and Disability that gave a point of view of the film that I had never thought of.
So we continued talking about other examples, and we arrived at the conclusion that many things go unnoticed, especially in kids' films, and there are many hidden messages in them. One example is disability.
So we want to discuss why this happens. Why do these messages exist? What is their purpose? We also wanted to give our opinion on some cases that we thought of, and if for us, what they did in each case is correct. Which are the rights and wrongs when talking about representation of disability?
First of all, we have to define what we're going to talk about. What is a disability? According to Wikipedia, a disability is any medical condition that makes it more difficult for a person to do certain activities or effectively interact with the world around them, socially or materially. These conditions or impairments may be cognitive, developmental, intellectual, mental, physical, sensory, or a combination of multiple factors. It's estimated that around 1 out of 7 people have a disability, so it was a matter of time that we could see the representation of disabled people in movies, even if it wasn't the director's intention.
With the definition of disability that we gave, we can find movies like Toy Story that focuses more on physical disabilities and movies like Monster University that also treat mental disabilities. The first movie to analyze is Toy Story, in which all the characters have something in common: the fear of being broken, of being different from others and losing their value, which can be seen as an analogy for disabilities. Being different and especially having capacities that others don't have and not being capable of doing certain things the way others can. The fear of the toys comes from the possibility that kids may not want to play with them if they don't work as they are supposed to.
Hey, Woody, did you miss me? Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, ride him, cowboy. Oh, I forgot. You're broken. I don't want to play with you anymore. No! Andy! No! 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 Bye, Woody. No! Andy!
So if the toys don't get fixed by the end of the movie, they're basically useless.
Showing that the toys are desperate may not seem like a good representation, but it is what happens to some people that have a disability. Obviously, not in a desperate way, but some of them try or have been taught that they have to behave or fit in the social standards. People who go through this are generally from the autism spectrum and is called masking, which means, according to Healthline, masking is a complex and costly survival strategy for autistic people. It generally involves intentionally learning neurotypical behaviors and mimicking them in social situations. Sometimes, masking focuses on hiding behaviors that people feel won't be accepted.
A clear example of this is Wheezy, a secondary character that has a broken squeaker, so he can work as he should. Woody finds him in a depressing state because he thinks Andy's mother is going to put him up for sale, and he's scared that kids won't play with him anymore because he's considered broken.
Then, in the same movie, Woody and Buzz end up at Sid's house, Andy's neighbor who likes to morph and rebuild toys. At first, when Buzz and Woody meet Sid's toys, they're terrified because these new characters look nothing like what our main characters know. They don't look like they're supposed to. They're different, so therefore other toys are scared of and to be someday like them.
The directors then changed that in the fourth movie and gave us Gabby Gabby, a doll who has never given a voice box to show that you don't have to be made in the same way as everybody else to be loved.
I try to stay active
And look at that! You have a voice box like me. Benson, show him.
Oh, that's really not necessary.
I'm Gabby Gabby.
And I love you. Wow, you need to fix that.
My record works just fine. It's the voice box that's broken.
But then they throw away that good message by deciding to give Gabby a voice box, which allows her to behave like any other Gabby would, and which plays a major role when it comes to finding a loving kid.
I'm Gabby Gabby. Will you be my friend? I'll help you.
Nonetheless, how this movie treats Boppy is a good example of how movies should approach this kind of topic. When she breaks her arm, Willie freaks out because when he ripped his arm in the first movie, he was worried about being forgotten or thrown away. Bo, meanwhile, doesn't care that her arm doesn't work the same way as other Boppy's arms. This is the kind of representation that should be shown in movies, where disabled characters aren't treated as any worse or better than the other characters. They're different, that's all.
But for Gabby Gabby, her disability is treated as a problem that needs to be solved. She still has to find a way to work like correct versions of herself to get a happy ending. It's not what we want kids' stories to have sad endings where the disabled characters can do the thing they were made to, but a lot of stories that celebrate disability as something that makes you special tend to present it the wrong way.
On the other hand, we have a movie like Monster University. Mike wants to be a professional scarer, but he's told he'll never succeed because he simply doesn't look scary. His conflict always revolves around the fact that he was born with a body type that excluded him from certain careers because it doesn't fit the standards of a scarer.
Against what everyone thought, he gets accepted to a top scaring school, Monsters University, where students mock him about how he will never be a real scarer. Then Mike wins the school scare games and shows everyone he can do whatever Scary Monster can. Except Sally rigged the test to help Mike win, so when Mike tries to test his skills on real kids, they aren't scared of him. He does everything by the book, but he still can't change the fact that he's not scary.
Because of this, he has to work extra hard to keep track with the rest of the students. While others parties and play, Mike studies. He's told he'll never achieve his dream because of something he can control.
Let's be honest, boys. You're never gonna be real scarers because real scarers look like us.
And, on the contrary to the traditional message about disabilities, he in fact doesn't succeed. He fought his entire life to achieve a dream and then doesn't get it. Not through any of his fault, but because of how he was born. Mike doesn't find a way to be a scarer that's cool and unique that makes him better than anybody else. He fails, but it still managed to be a heartwarming, hopeful story. It's very easy to read this as an allegory for disability and the adversities that disabled people have to overcome.
And that's where the film's hopeful tone comes from. Monsters University tells viewers that if you fail to achieve your dream, that doesn't make you any less valuable or smart as a person. And Mike does go on to do something very like his original dream. He becomes a trainer for scarers. He wasn't able to make that dream a reality for himself, but he could still find success in a similar career.
The film also presents the counterpart of Mike's struggles, Sally. This is a character that comes from a family of scarers, so he's a natural. It seems like he was born with the ability to do the things that Mike would have to work his ass off to even get close to. He parties all night and doesn't seem to study. The pressure of his family's heritage was giving him bad times, and he didn't know how to ask for help without losing that gifted kid label that has defined him his entire life.
Monsters like you have everything. You don't have to be good. You can mess up over and over again, and the whole world loves you.
Mike.
You'll never know what it's like to fail because you were born a Sullivan.
Yeah, I'm a Sullivan. I'm the Sullivan who flunked every test. The one who got kicked out of the program. The one who was so afraid to let everyone down that I cheated.
What we're trying to say is that having a disability doesn't mean you're necessarily secretly cooler or more beautiful than anybody else. It means you have a disability. And sometimes that allows you to do things others can't, Or it can also feel like you're in a marathon with a chain cuffed to your leg that nobody else can see, and once it's pointed out to them, they don't want to acknowledge it. So when the directors decide to treat this matter in an inspirational light, or even romanticize a character's disability, it's not always the best way to handle it. What if Gabi Gabi can't talk to kids like she's supposed to? Does that make her any lesser or a failure?
Good representations are movies like Monster University, which tell kids they're not alone. Even the people who seem to not struggle have to fight their own battles. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to fail. You can find fulfillment even in places or situations you didn't think you would end up in. Because the reality is that there are things you can do when you have a disability. Sometimes having a disability isn't pretty or cruel, it's hard. And in Monster University, they found a way to make that fact a little less discouraging. This ending is framed as a triumph. Even though Mike technically failed, he's still on track to finding a career he loves, and he's not alone anymore.
Wazowski! Good luck on your first day!
Thanks, Merv.
Good luck, Mike!
Thanks, fellas.
You coming, Coach?
You better believe it.